Alright, in this section of our MLA 9 discussion, we will be looking at specifically just the formatting of the document. So this isn't necessarily an exciting part of MLA, but it's necessary to understand in order to meet standards set in the style guide. So first, maybe, there we go. The basics. So a lot of this stuff you probably know from previous versions of MLA or because you have had to do this kind of styling your entire life when you write papers, is the 1-inch margin, double spacing, using a readable font that is at least 12-point font, and not above that. You don't want to go too big and you don't want to go too small. 12-point font is recommended. The whole text is left justified. You have the first line of every paragraph is indented 1/2 of an inch. So that's kind of you probably have done this your whole life. So the other parts in this slide have to do with where your placement of different sections of the paper go. So the first part is doing your page numbers. So your page numbers go in the header of your document. You'll insert your page number and you'll add your last name to go right before the page number. So it'll be last name space page number. And that goes on every page starting at the very first page. The other part of the, heading, so that the page number is in your header. This is the heading of your page. It's on the left side, so left justified, left side. It's going to be in a list format, like a vertical list, where it's your name, your professor's name, the class that you're in, and the due date of your paper. The due date basically could be substituted as publication date. It's the date that you are saying that these ideas were officially made yours. So MLA papers get a title. So the next line down from your last item, which was your due day, centered, it will be the title of your paper. It will not be bold and it will not be italicized. It is just normal type font in the center with titled, styled capitalization. So right under that, left justified, again, you start your paper with your first paragraph. So there are no extra spaces between any of these items that are at the top of your paper. They just flow one to the next without, putting anything extra in there. So this is kind of what that looks like. We have the heading information that we talked about, where it's the student name, your professor's name or the teacher's name, the name of your class, and the date that it was due. You will also have your paper title, and as this title so rightfully says, that it is the title of your thing. Major words are capitalized. So as you can see, the title is capitalized in title style, meaning the major words are capitalized. The next, my thing wasn't clicked right, sorry. So at the top right, you'll see how it has the last name space page number. That appears on every page, and that is in the header of the document. So other formatting things, these are just kind of things to keep in mind within the text of your document, so your narrative, when you are referencing a book or an article, books, because they are considered big works, are italicized. Articles, because they are smaller works contained within a larger work, are in quotation marks and are considered small works. So that's just something to keep in mind. So if you're saying such and such author who wrote an article titled, pigs sleep in the summer or whatever, I don't care. The pigs sleep in the summer part would be surrounded in quotation marks to show that it is an article title. So some people like to break up their papers using headings. Headings are kind of, I know there's a lot of headings in this video of header, heading, and now headings. So if you've ever kind of noticed in textbooks how they have section titles, that's kind of what a heading is. It is labeling a section of your paper. They come in different levels, meaning you have a top level heading that would be for the overall goal of a section. Then you'd have like a level 2 heading that would be like a broken out subpart of that overarching goal of the section. And then a heading level 3 would actually be a broken out part of whatever text is within level 2. So it breaks down that way. Each time you're going to a lower level heading, the more precise of a topic you're discussing. Not many teachers or students use headings in their papers, but you can if you want, and that's just kind of how they are formatted. So listing things. Say you are trying to list general responses to a survey that you did. And the survey replies are yes, no, maybe, sometimes. And you want to list that in your narrative to show these were the survey responses people could pick. You would list them in line with your narrative, in that case, using a comma-separated list. The only time that you're going to do something that's broken out of your paragraph and into a vertical list that is either numbered or bulleted is if that information is kind of lengthy and it would be confusing to have contained in the narrative as a list without people being unsure what is going on. So this is our take a break slide. Deep breath. Deep breath. We can do this. We're almost there. Alright, so formatting continued. So these are some grammar formatting things to keep in mind, but also just general rules to work with when doing MLA. The first is using the Oxford comma. MLA does specify in their style guide that they prefer for the Oxford comma to be used. The Oxford comma is the comma that is a part of a list. So like we were saying, yes, no, maybe, sometimes. If you have that in your narrative, you're going to be saying yes, comma, no, comma, maybe, comma, or sometimes. The comma that is right before the or is the Oxford comma. So that is what they're specifying specifically needs to be used. So if you're typing something in your document and you are comparing text between the English translation and the original foreign language that it was written in, anytime that you're writing the text in that foreign language, it should be italicized. This is kind of, I don't want to say shopkeeping sort of thing. When you're introducing someone else's thought for the first time and that you're naming that person, you must say their full name as you see it on their publication. in your text the first time that you introduce them. After that, the proper way to refer back to that person is either by their last name or their preferred pronouns. Just kind of a side note, there are going to be a lot of times where in research you might find articles that are from other countries, and you need to make sure that you look up how their names are organized and displayed. In the West, we do first name, last name, and in the East, in some countries, they do last name, first name. So that's important to keep in mind so that when you're referring back to those people, you're referring to them by their proper name. Titles that are associated with personal names like Sir, Doctor, Madam, PhD, MA, whatever. Don't use them in your text. Drop them. Just use their name. We're getting closer. The kitty says, "Wee!" Okay, so this is, I think, the second to last slide in this section. So use title style capitalization when writing titles in your paper. This is different from APA's weird mandate in their reference page, which confuses everyone for everything ever. But just remember that capitalize things appropriately in your paper. Make sure that if you have something that is like a quote within a quote, or a title that contains another title within it. So say you have a title of a essay that you're looking at that says looking into gene tumors, cane, and colorism, or something like that. And that is the whole title. Cane is the name of a book that Gene Toomer wrote. So some people, depending on their publication, would have that in quotation marks, and others would italicize it. If it appears with quotation marks in the original publication, and you are then trying to put that whole article title as a title in your paper, you're going to be switching the quotation marks around the word cane to be single quotes, while the entire article itself will still be in double quotes. And that's the same for if you're doing a quote within a quote, like you're quoting something that an author wrote, and in the middle of the quote that you are doing, the author quotes someone else. The inside quote is in single quotations, and the containing quote is in double quotations. So the works cited page is at the very end of the paper, and is on its own page, and that's the last thing. The last thing in this section, formatting. Woohoo! You did it! In the next video, we will be doing in-text citations. See you then.